Boris Johnson today invoked the spirit of Margaret Thatcher while overseeing a disturbing regime of higher taxes, a nanny state, draconian controls on the way we live our lives and record borrowing. But this is how he defended such an unconservative approach in a policy light but high on optimism conference speech in Manchester.
Does anyone seriously imagine that we should not now be raising the funding to sort this out? Is that really the view of responsible Conservatives? I can tell you something. Margaret Thatcher would not have ignored the meteorite that has just crashed through the public finances. She would have wagged her finger and said, more borrowing now is just higher interest rates and even higher taxes later.
Beautifully delivered, of course, because we know Boris is one of our best orators. And the loyalists in the room may well have swallowed that line. But many senior Tories are furious at the way the PM has turned his back on the party's traditional values. Take former Brexit Minister Steve Baker, who bemoaned today, "We're all socialists now. We are grinding miserably forward, doing Ed Miliband's Labour Party policies, and we're hating every minute and trying to claim its conservatism, and that really our hearts are somewhere else. But eventually the public will look at what we're doing and say, well, they say their heart's somewhere else, but look what they're doing." And then there's the Boris previously inconceivable split with Big Business. Big Business, who senior party sources are now blaming for the current supply chain crisis for being drunk on cheap labour. Furious Craig Beaumont of the Federation of Small Businesses summed it up best, telling Politico's Playbook today, the party of business is just walking off the pitch. All we get from a Conservative conference is a heady mix of tax hikes and blame. Not a single small business person wants uncontrolled migration. It's a completely false fiction. Inflation is rising, employment costs are up, 50,000 more people will join the unemployed energy bills are up, fuel's hard to find. The problems with recruitment skills and pay are local and under government's control. This is where it needs to discover its guts and grit. But Liz Barnes, she's the boss of wet wipes firm, Fresh Wipes, and she put it more bluntly. Do you remember this video?
Build back butter.
Well, in response to that, Liz Barnes raged, if he likes alliteration, Boris can shove his butter up his backside. Now, I like Boris personally very much. It's almost impossible not to, let's be honest, and I will him to succeed. But there was a moment in his speech today that left me fuming.
Crime has been falling. And not just, by the way, because we took the precaution of locking up the public for much of the last 18 months.
Ha, 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 not. As I wrote in my column for the Mail Online today, it's appalling to me that an unprecedented lockdown that has caused so much misery to our health, to our very way of life and to our economy has become a punchline. It's largely Boris's reaction to the pandemic, not Brexit, that has left us facing this current crisis. No one questions our unrivaled vaccine rollout. It was sensational. But we allowed that advantage to get away from us by maintaining draconian, economy-destroying regulations to remain in place for far too long. There were positives today, however, too. Boris finally had the balls to demand white-collar workers return to the office.
We know that a productive workforce needs the spur that only comes with face-to-face meetings and water cooler gossip. If young people are to learn on the job in the way that they always have and must, we will and must see people back in the office.
Finally, I've been calling on that for a long time, as you know. And Boris also provided a stoic defence of his political hero, Winston Churchill, who the woke mob are trying to cancel for being racist.
When they began to attack Churchill as a racist, I was minded to ignore them, because it's only 20 years ago since BBC audiences overwhelmingly voted him the greatest Briton of all time. He helped to defeat a regime, after all, that was defined by one of the most vicious racisms the world has ever seen. But as time has gone by, it's become clear to me that this isn't just a joke. They really do want to rewrite our national stories, starting with Hereward the Woke. We really are at risk of a kind of know-nothing cancel culture iconoclasm. And so we Conservatives will defend our history and cultural inheritance, not because we're proud of everything, but because trying to edit it now is as dishonest as a celebrity trying furtively to change his entry in Wikipedia. And it's a betrayal of our children's education.
Hear, hear, what a brilliant line. And I love all of that. But as gas prices continue to surge and the supply chain crisis gets worse, today's speech provided little hope that Boris has a clear plan to avoid a dreaded winter of discontent. I hope I'm wrong.